Welcome everybody, this is Giles from Full Stack Modeler, and I am delighted to be joined by none other than Danielle Stein Fairhurst. So welcome Danielle, thank you for giving up some of your time. As a bit of background, I contacted Danielle a few weeks ago, I think, because I had this idea of reversing the roles a little bit. Danielle does so much to help other people in the industry sort of promote what they're doing and to get to a wider audience. And I thought it would be interesting for us to get to know Danielle a little bit better.
I know, because I'm normally interviewing other people and finding out about their stuff. So I'm not used to talking about myself.
Good. I hope this makes you very uncomfortable the entire way through, but we enjoy it. That's a joke, clearly. So this is also a conversation between two financial modelers attempting to not talk about Excel at any point.
Absolutely.
So I don't know whether that's possible either.
We're not going to talk about Excel at all, is that?
I don't know if that, I mean, we may have to mention it at some point, but we're certainly not going to be doing any training or talking about functions or anything like that. So this is all about you. So as an intro, if I was to intro you, I would be saying things like you are a Microsoft MVP. Congratulations again on that. Published author. You run your own modeling consultancy and training company, amongst other things. You've got, I think, a LinkedIn group of more than 50,000 followers. But I'm really intrigued. If you go to a party, I don't know if you remember what those things were, how would you describe yourself when people say, you know, who are you and what do you do?
Well, am I allowed to mention Excel? See, I'm going to have to.
Yes,
I'm going to have to. Yeah. Well, I find that if I just say to people I'm a financial modeler, I think that most people don't know what that is, like just generally. So some people do. So I usually say I use Excel for the purpose of finance. And what I've been doing a lot of lately is with the Financial Modeling World Cup, when they run those battles with the Excel as esports, and they have competitions, and I've done a bit of commentating there. I usually find that when I meet people for the first time and try to explain what I do, I find if I explain that, they kind of get that, and they it kind of like piques their interest a little more than perhaps just standard financial modeling would. So I tend to talk about that when I introduce myself nowadays.
That's really good. I like that. I don't know if you ever have a reverse, if you're not too keen on talking to the person in front of you, but I always turn to, I'm an accountant, and that kills the conversation dead usually.
Yes. Or I say I work in, mine is I work in finance, because everyone just thinks that's really boring. We know it's not. We know that it's the most fascinating area on the planet, but yeah, most people think it's boring. So
good stuff. All right, good. I like that. So all right, I wanted to take you back first then to when you kind of started your business, because I know you used to work in investment banking. I think you were in London for a while. So
yeah,
you've clearly made that transition that almost all business owners have to make from traditional sort of security to doing your own thing. So are you able to talk to us about what that was like, both in terms of like the steps you made, but actually internally, you know, what was that journey like when you started?
Oh, it's so long ago now. You know, I mean, it would be completely different nowadays. Yeah, I was traveling, and I you know, ended up in London and remembered I'd been traveling for years and years, and you know, I'd lived out of a backpack for so long. I'd done the Trans-Siberian, and I'd lived in Korea, South Korea, for 3 years, and you know, just traveled so I spent a long time in the Middle East and Africa. And by the time I got to London, I remembered that I had a degree, and kind of went, oh, actually, I could probably use that. And yeah, sort of worked my way through some different sort of analyst roles. I was there for 3 years, but I never took on a permanent role. So I always did contracting, or like, you know, project work. Yeah. So that when I came back to Australia, I worked in a more sort of like analyst sort of permanent job. But I always liked the project work. And so when I started the business, that was more like that, where you're taking on projects rather than sort of, you know, in that corporate world. The corporate sort of, I suppose the corporate job where you are there for a long time. I quite enjoyed just working on sort of short pieces and projects, and that's what I do now.
And so when you started Plum, I'm guessing it was called Plum at the time, but correct me if I'm wrong. Was it purely a consultancy then, or when did you add the training onto this?
Can't remember. I was doing a bit of training. It was really when I had kids that I decided to go off on my own. So I just didn't want to get back into the sort of full-time, long-term, long hours thing. And so then I started the business, and of course worked longer hours than I was before, but you work your own hours, which is different. So that was kind of the catalyst, I think, was having kids and wanting to sort of be a bit more flexible. And I think in those days it was quite hard to have kids and have that sort of, the mix.
Yeah,
it's quite difficult.
Okay.
So I sort of wanted to create my own job, which is why I started the business. Yeah,
I can resonate with doing more hours when you actually start the business, but it's the long-term goal in mind, isn't it? Did you have any particular mentors when you started? Did you read any books with any resources that kind of helped you, or was this just all coming from you and what was driving you?
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't really, like, financial modeling wasn't a thing. And I thought, this is what I do. So I wanted to start a business and I didn't know what in. And I thought, well, I've got really good skills that I know that lots of people want. So I thought, well, why don't I set up the business around my skill set? So started a blog, and, it was all in the days of the blog era.
Yeah.
Facebook was just starting out, it was a long time ago. And yes, I started it then, and there wasn't any other websites like that. So yeah, I kind of I just sort of felt my way, I suppose. I don't really recall. I had some fantastic mentors and people that I worked with, which were very influential for me. I just finished my MBA, which was really helpful.
What was the MBA in, out of interest?
Just general management.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. And along the journey now, I don't know how many years you've been doing this, but have you got any standout sort of highs, or I don't want to say lows is the wrong word, but any kind of particular challenges that you've had to overcome that you're happy sharing with us?
Well, probably about every couple of years I go, right, that's it. I've had enough. I'm going to get a real job. And and I've just had a gutful and it's all too much, and I do that every now and then. Still, but of course I always come back to it, and the business has changed so much over the years, I mean, it's just sort of grown and gotten more and more interesting. And I think the wonderful thing about what I do is that I can follow my interests. I do things that interest me. I've got the amazing opportunity to choose the projects that I work on, and that is such a privilege. It's wonderful to not have to do something if it doesn't interest me. And that's just wonderful. And the travel was amazing back then. I used to go to the Middle East. Like, I was going to the Middle East for more than 10 years, several times a year. It was just fantastic. It was just wonderful to be able to have those opportunities to do that. Was just incredible. And I never felt that I had to go. Sometimes I'd be like, oh, this, such a long flight, and I might not feel like going. And I thought, well, you could have said no. And I did. Sometimes I did say no, and that's cool. It's great to be able to do that.
Could you tell us more about that travel? What was that for? Was that face-to-face training all over the world you're doing?
Yeah. Amazing. So I've had the chance to go to amazing places, Brunei and Samoa and Aruba and Saudi Arabia. I mean, I used to go to Dubai and Abu Dhabi, like, every couple of months, quite a lot, and Jordan and Kuwait and all these incredible places for face-to-face training. Yeah, so that was amazing. And now it's all virtual. We're doing it live, and we may go back to face to face. We'll see.
I think you've just answered what my next question was is there any sign of that coming back? But yeah, it'd be interesting to hear from you on that transition to virtual as well.
There's a lot of talk about it, but in reality, I think just the convenience and the cost effectiveness of doing things virtually, I think it's going to be hard to get away from. Yeah, we'll see. I'd still, I miss the face to face, absolutely. But we'll see. I mean, it's really driven by client demand, really. If people want it, I'll do it. So yeah.
And yeah, please don't make the reverse move. I couldn't imagine anything worse in my own head from being a business owner to going back to like a normal job. That sounds like it would be a difficult step for most business owners.
It's attractive. I mean, I would never say never. You never know.
Yeah. All right.
I think I'd be pretty unemployable. I don't know. No, I might one day.
Yeah, I've thought about that as well. You know, if you did have to go back, or if I had to go back to a normal job, have you learned enough to keep you employable? I think there must be so much that you learn around kind of leadership and management and all of that stuff. But yeah, I've had the same fears at times.
In terms of skills, I think you're definitely employable. But for me, it's like I've 10:30 in the morning. I've got a yoga class to get to. What are you talking about? This, like just the attitude, I suppose, of being able to do what you want to do, and then I might get up at 5 and do work or work late. Now with doing everything virtually, I tend to start very early and finish very late. And so I do have time during the day as well, although sometimes I just end up working like a 14-hour day, but that's not that usual.
Okay, great.
So I guess, yeah.
What about the future then, Danielle? What are your plans over the coming year or two, with Plum and just outside of work, I guess, a little bit?
I have no idea. I just keep doing what I love. I take on projects that interest me. I've started doing some acting classes and just for fun. And I've gotten some roles in some commercials locally, TV commercials and stuff. So
wow.
Yeah, like that's really interesting to me. Like I mean, I love like all the this is why I do the commentating and the presenting and the speaking, because I like it. And I was telling you about my beautiful microphone because I'm looking at doing some voiceover as well, which also really, really interests me, which could be together with the training or not. I don't know. I'll see where it takes me.
I'm going to have to try and get a link to an advert that you're in now, if that's available. We can put that next to the video. That's amazing.
My last one was with the check-in app, the Services of Wales, and I was like in the back. It was just in the background, like going in and out of it.
That's amazing.
I was on Celebrity Apprentice actually. So
we're gonna have to get links for all of these things. That
hasn't come out yet. I can't wait to see that one. What else did I do? I've done some really interesting things. It's really fun.
Celebrity Apprentice, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, I'm not going to let that go. I'm going to try and get that link when it's out. All right, I had two more questions for you then, just to kind of round off. The first one was just to see if you wanted to talk about the women in financial modeling kind of movement that you've got going. I know you're a huge proponent for women doing more. I mean, there are already very, very talented women in the industry, but the numbers are always so low compared to men in the industry. So I didn't know if you wanted to talk a little bit about what you've been doing and how that's going, I suppose.
It's going well. It's slow going. I just get frustrated by the particularly in the Financial Modelling World Cup Championships, we just see so few women there, and there's a lot of reasons for that. It just doesn't appeal to many women, and just the I know there's a lot of really talented women in the finance industry and in financial modeling. We just don't always see them or hear from them. Yeah. So I'm really trying to, encourage more women to increase their profiles and to sort of to support them and get out there. And to that end, I started the Women in Financial Modeling meetup group, and we get together every couple of weeks. So we try to, and we had a 7 a.m. meeting this morning to do a debrief on last weekend's Financial Modeling World Cup. And we get together and talk about things to do with guest speakers and talk about things to do with financial modeling.
And people can join that. I'm guessing from your website. We could also put links on, but that's free to anyone to join.
Absolutely.
I'm assuming.
Yeah. Anyone who identifies as female, we are very welcome. And it's on the Plum website. So there's a meetup page. So plumsolutions.com.au/meetup, and I just put all of our meetups. So we have public meetups as well, and other free events that are online generally to do with financial modeling. I put them all there.
Great. Okay, and we've got at least a couple of your group's members in Full Stack. I know Gunjan and Yun.
Yeah.
Amongst others, are part of Full Stack and very active and very, very, very good modelers. So yeah, it's a good, strong group. Final question then. I like asking this question to everybody is, there you go. Yes, I'll tell you what, 2 more questions then. One more question, and then the end, I'll just say, is there anything else that you want to share that you've got going on? So what bit of advice would you either give yourself, 5-10 years ago, or somebody else looking to start their own business and go down that path, if you could, based on everything that you've learned?
Don't know. I guess just you have to sort of have that judgment of whether you're going to jump out into stay in the corporate world or jump into a business. It's a hard decision, and it's not for everybody. And I think it's got to resonate with who you are and fit your lifestyle. And I suppose if I had to give myself some advice, would be to just trust, I suppose, that you do know what you're doing. You do. That you do, if you continue to follow the path of things that are interesting and valuable to the community, the business will continue to grow. I think that's probably the thing that has worked the best for me, is that I haven't tried actively to grow a business. I've just tried to give value to the community and to help others to grow, I suppose. And I think that will naturally help the business to grow in itself.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. That's great advice. And then my additional final question, is there anything else you would like to mention or show on the screen?
Well, as a matter of fact, I have a new book out. So the second edition of Financial Modeling in Excel for Dummies has just come out, which is very exciting. So I was really happy that they wanted to do it as a second edition, so it gives you a chance to make any edits or updates. And so far it's been selling really well. It was #1 for books on spreadsheets in Australia when it first came out.
Awesome. And who's that aimed at? Is it beginners in financial modeling, or is that a value to people that have been doing this a little while as well, do you think?
I think if you're completely brand new to Excel, like, it assumes very little knowledge. Yeah. But I think people who have been doing it for a while would also get some value out of it. But there is a lot of it's very sort of, and it's Americanized. It's not written in English. It's written in American.
Okay.
It's a different language, because it's only got 1 L.
Oh yeah, so Full Stack.
It had to be
the wrong spelling for us, but
they actually had to translate it. So I wrote it in English, and they translated it into American.
Excellent. All right, well, that's great. I'll definitely get a copy myself. But and anything else you wanted to show us or share before we wrap up?
No, but yeah, it was lovely to catch up, and yeah, thanks for giving me a chance to talk about myself. Not very used to that.
No, it is really enjoyable, and I think we pretty much managed to not do anything too technical, which is I'm quite proud of. Actually, we didn't get into any training or modeling. All right, thank you, Danielle. Really appreciate your time, and I'm sure we'll catch up soon. And thank you everybody for watching.
Thanks, Giles.